The guy I'd sent for the clothes walked up with a brown paper bag in his arm. He handed me my key through the car window. I opened the car door and got out. After I took the bag from him, I became aware that we were getting a lot of attention. Ray got out of the car and came around and sat on the fender. I sent the man who had brought the clothes in the restaurant to get Little Bit. Walking over to the nearest garbage can, I began dropping the feminine apparel down on top of the garbage. Looking up, I saw Boots, staring, apparently shocked. The girls with her watched me with open curiosity. Suddenly the air was ringing with curses. I whirled in time to catch Little Bit's arms. "What the hell you call yourself doing with my clothes?" she screamed. "God damn it, Whoreson, you bastard! Turn me loose, you red motherfucker!" Realizing that it would hurt her more if I humiliated her, I held back from cracking her head. Picking her up, I pushed her down inside of the other garbage can. Each time she tried to climb out, I pushed her down deeper in the can. She eventually stopped trying and just sat there and cried. Some of the pimps and wineheads and the other night dwellers laughed loudly. The prostitutes stared angrily at me for my treatment of their sister. Removing my large bankroll, I beckoned to the wineheads I was paying. "Take this garbage to the alley where it belongs with the rest of the trash," I commanded, peeling off some bills. The anger in the prostitutes' eyes only added fuel to the fury inside of me. My voice was full of contempt as I tongue-lashed them. "I'd rather sleep in shit or suck a dog's dick than let one of you funky bitches think for a minute that you got enough sense to put game on me. If you feel sorry for that trampish-ass bitch, don't. The bitch is where she belongs, with the garbage." Ray slapped me on the back. "Pimp hard," he yelled. "Let these whores know that a hard-pimping young man is on the set." The prostitutes began to slip away. Ray, with his arm around my shoulders, led me towards his car. We got in, and he started to cross town to get some cocaine and reefer. The night was young. I had a pocket full of money, and I believed in my heart I could make as much money as any whore that peed between two heels. We came back to the track around 4 in the morning. My nose felt like it was frozen from so much coke. We sat in the car, high, smoking reefer with the windows rolled up tight, watching the girls work. Boots walked up and down the street. Even with her belly stuck out a mile, she tried. Every time she stopped a car and waddled out to haggle with the men, some other girl would always come off the sidewalk and stand conspicuously behind her. The men constantly passed over her for the other prostitutes. As the time passed, I began to feel sorry for her. Finally, Ray's woman got in the car. Her trap was fat, and she was ready to go in. I said good night and got out. He reassured me that he would pick me up later in the day and take me to a pawn shop so I could buy me a ring. Moving back in the shadows, I stood and watched Boots try and work. A carload of young white boys stopped in front of her doorway. When she didn't come out, they just sat there and heckled her. All the other traffic on the street had to go around the jeering teenagers. Since this ruined her chances of stopping a date, she came out of the doorway and started walking down the street. The car moved slowly along beside her. She turned and came back. The driver put the car in reverse and backed up slow, so that he could keep up with her pace. When the light from the restaurant outlined her pregnancy, they really began to harass her. 2 prostitutes walking past began to take up for her. They berated the kids in the car viciously, their words dripping venom. Where the kids had found Boots vulnerable, they now found themselves defenseless. The prostitutes heaped abuse upon their mothers, fathers, sisters. No one was left out. An empty beer bottle came sailing out of the car in the direction of the girls. They ducked, and the driver roared off with his tires squealing. I stepped out from my dark concealment. "Hi, baby," I said, putting my arm around her waist. "You ready to go in?" She tried a half-hearted smile. "I ain't got my rent money together yet, baby." "Don't worry about it," I replied, and took her arm. Boots shook her head. "I couldn't, Whoreson. If I took the money from you, I still have to try and make it to give it back." She added, "Besides, I'm too big to be stuffed in a garbage can." Since I still held her arm, I didn't leave her any alternative. "Listen, Nut," I said. "I'm going to spend $20 with somebody tonight. If you don't want to make that money, that's okay with me, but I'm going to find me a working girl somewhere who ain't so choosy." My proposition was the answer to a problem. Shrewd as she was, she saw through my little plot. Boots was well aware that I wasn't planning on spending $20 on a whore, but handling men was her profession, and she was professional enough to know the error of calling a man a liar to his face. For her to yield to my request now was a simple matter. Her ego wouldn't be hurt, and she would still be independent. Mischievously, she put her head down on my shoulder. "You really make me feel wanted," she said, and laughed lightly, before adding, "Sweetie." My muscles tightened involuntarily. The term sweetie was mostly reserved for tricks, black or white, as long as they spent cash money. Genuine laughter erupted from deep in her throat. She had immediately realized my extreme dislike for this term of endearment when it was used in connection with me. Loneliness was a part of life that I was not used to. As we walked towards the hotel, I was overjoyed at the prospect of finding temporary release in the warm embrace of Boots' arms. Later, much later, Boots lay in the crook of my arm, with her back pressed against me. The sound of her light snoring was pleasing. My thoughts were troubled as I pondered the future. I kept trying to push the idea from my mind, but it was no use. I recognized the truth of my problem. No matter how much inconvenience it would cause me, Boots would have to be mine. Instead of going to sleep, I rolled her over on her back. Then I kissed her eyes, nose, neck, till she moaned and came awake. Blinking her eyes, she stared at me in surprise. "What, baby?" she asked, sleepily. "Ain't you gonna get no rest?" I kissed her, until I could feel her really responding. "Tomorrow, honey," I whispered. "You gonna move your clothes in here. I'm not giving you time to choose. I've already chose." I had her complete attention now. She twisted around affectionately so that I was gazing down into her beautiful dark eyes. "Whoreson, don't do nothing for me out of pity, baby. I can make it." I replied crudely, "Don't you understand, bitch, that I really want you? Pity ain't in it. I know you a good whore, big belly or not, so I'm going to hook up with you now." She raised up on her elbows. Not truly convinced of my sincerity, she apparently was trying to reach an honest decision. Her acceptance of my proposal was a must, especially since I had committed myself. If she refused me now, my pride would be hurt. Determined that she wouldn't deny me, I enclosed her in my arms and compelled her to surrender. Her nipples grew firm under my caresses, and I made love to her till her voice trembled with erotic weakness. Sometime in the early morning, I relaxed against the sweat-soaked sheets. Her murmur came to me, low and husky. "I can't describe how you make me feel, but I'm yours, Whoreson, as long as you want me." It was late in the afternoon when Ray showed up. I'd just come back from the bathroom after taking a hot bath. He nodded and smiled warmly at Boots, propped up in the bed with both pillows. "Hey, girl," he yelled. "What you done gone and did? Copped you a Mac? I know you ain't layin' up in no pimp's bed yardin', girl, so tell me the real deal." While straightening my tie, I watched her in the mirror. I couldn't help but appreciate her. Her low laugh was deep and sexual. When she smiled, her face took on a rare beauty. She asked lightly, "Are you congratulating me on my choice, or warning me, Ray?" I slipped on my overcoat before interrupting. "I'm ready whenever you're ready, Ray." "Wow!" Ray exclaimed. "Man, what's the deal? You done got sharp and even choked up tight on me." I laughed and opened the door, ignoring his remarks about the suit and tie I wore. He was just as immaculate in his attire as I was, except that I wore a tie, and he didn't. 2 hours later, after visiting 5 different pawn shops, I sat down in the car and relaxed. Glittering on my little finger was an exquisite diamond ring. I stared at it proudly. It had cost $700, but I didn't care. My bankroll was down to $9, yet I didn't have a concern in the world. Whether I was stupid or just didn't realize the value of money, I can't say. After all, I was only 16. Still, I wasn't doing too bad. Jesse had made a better hustler out of me than I realized. It was many grown men who couldn't compare with me when it came to getting down and getting cash money. Here I was, in a strange town, with a pregnant whore to support, and yet I didn't have any doubts about living, because if the sun came up, by the time it went down, I'd have figured out a way to get fresh money.